Hello, welcome back to Heretic Owl Tarot. My name is Liz, and I will be guiding you on this journey today. This is a reading for Aquarius, wherever Aquarius shows up for you in your chart. And while we're both thinking about it, go ahead and subscribe to the channel, like the video, drop an emoji, all the things that that algorithms like, because your girl is trying to catch the algorithm train and you're my ticket. I can see I wonder if there's going to be a ton of like corny analogies that I'm going to be using throughout this reading, but interestingly enough, actually, there goes my dog with a reverse sneeze thing. But literally right when I was about to start telling you that, before I sat down, I was like preparing, getting everything out of the way, getting my microphone set up and blah, blah, blah. I just felt very like phlegmy in my throat all of a sudden. Like I was clearing my throat a bunch. I was actually sniffling a lot more. And I was like, what in the world is going on? And anytime, anything like that, especially if I already have an intention to start a specific reading, whatever starts showing up for me around then, I blame on the sign that I'm doing. So I don't know. It's interesting, especially throat. Especially throat, because obviously it's communication, how we express ourselves in words. It could even be a fear of confrontation, just avoiding or delaying having a conversation that needs to be had. Even of course, expressing yourself in a certain capacity. So that's interesting. So anyway, let's get you an oracle card. Waxing Crescent Moon. I love that because, well, not that I really know what waxing crescent means. We'll read about it. But I love how in this card it looks like, for one, if you've seen that movie Titanic, right? And Rose is like, at the front of the boat, and she's got her arms spread out. But the first impression that I got from this was taking a leap, because they're like right at the edge of this crescent moon. It also even looks like this crescent moon is like smoking something. So to me, that, just kind of gives a feeling of like an altered state. That's interesting how these came out. I don't shuffle reversals into my decks, but these two cards came out like this, the Chariot and the Page of Swords in the reverse. Interesting. To me, I I immediately got this feeling of you don't need any new ideas. Work on the ideas that you do have. Make a decision about the ideas that you have now. We have the Death card, Judgment with Chariot, the Magician. Dang, look at all these major arcana cards. One more. The Queen of Pentacles. And Two of Swords at the bottom of it. Why can I not? I'm just trying to... Okay. Like my hands weren't working for a second. I'm still like sniffling. It could even be, too, with that, like taking care of yourself. If you need a break, take the break. Especially if you are gearing up for something that is going to move quickly, or that's going to, propel you forward, or if you have been spending time researching stuff or just getting prepared for things, there's nothing wrong with taking a rest before that, before you put that oomph, that, energy into propelling something forward. And interestingly enough, my nose feels like it cleared up a bit. So it says, I let my curiosity lead the way, gently emerging from the darkness. The waxing crescent moon is the growing light that marks the beginning of a new cycle. This time of rebirth calls upon your innate childlike wonder, beckoning you to look at the world with fresh eyes. Remember the way the world looked when you were young? Surprises could be found around each corner as curiosity guided your every move. Everyday magic surrounds you. Awaken to the wonder that has been right in front of you all along. Allow yourself to find childlike curiosity at every opportunity so that you might more readily recall how wild and wondrous this world is. It's time to reemerge and collect evidence of life's cyclical magic through a commitment to curiosity. And that could even be why the Page of Swords is in the reverse. Because maybe we have been lacking in the curiosity department lately. Obviously we'll get to the Page of Swords, but that is very Page of Swordsy kind of energy, right? It's being curious. It's, finding evidence to support an idea or a belief or whatever, right? It can also be, I know that I just heard it also like described as like the spy, but in the sense of maybe covertly going about this curiosity. So anyway, let's start with the Chariot. This has this feeling for me of like waiting for you because the Chariot is it's fast moving. It's also, I usually see it as like being divinely guided, really, getting out of your own way so that you can be taken to, placed in the areas of life or the place where you need to be, right? Like we are always exactly where we need to be. And sometimes it's easier to get there if we get out of our own way mentally, which could also be why this Page of Swords is in the reverse. It's interesting how many things keep coming back to this Page of Swords in the reverse. I think there's obviously definitely something to that. And I say this because all of these figures, like this person on the motorcycle, they're not moving. This motorcycle is not in motion right now. These two, what are those? I can't think of the word. They're just laying there. They're also not moving. But it looks like there was like maybe some smoke back here. So maybe like the back tire is moving. Maybe they did some donuts. But just like the more that I look at this card, it's just like it's waiting for you to get on. There's this like kind of patiently waiting. We've been here. We've been sitting outside just waiting for you to finish getting ready. Even, the two crescent moons on their jacket there. This is the card of Cancer. Cancer is ruled by the moon, so there could be something in regards to, working with either moon magic, ritual. It could even just be, of course, the cyclical nature of things. And this could just be, again, this waiting feeling of waiting for you to come around to get to a point of being ready. And especially too with the Judgment card. The Judgment card is also called Awakening in some decks. And, the Oracle card was talking about awakening to something. Awaken to the wonder that has been right in front of you all along. That's almost how the Chariot card feels. Right in front of our face. Even having the Magician card out here. And even going back to this Page of Swords that I keep going back to, this is not seeing it in that capacity. Whether it's a conscious decision to not see the thing because maybe it's not showing up in your realm of existence in the way that you wanted it to, so you're not noticing it, you're not seeing it for the opportunity that it is, because you're like, well, no, that can't possibly be it. Because if it was it, it would look like, it would feel like, it would show up as this thing, but it's not, it hasn't shown up that way. However, it's still sitting here though. Like, it's not going anywhere. It's just waiting for you to see it. And this Judgment card feels like seeing it, noticing it. And it would change it would take a change in perspective. The Judgment card comes right before the World card. The World card is the end of the Fool's journey on that particular journey, that particular lesson, that particular thing. But the Judgment card is recognizing how the journey has changed you. What are your belief systems? What do you believe in now? What's changed? Also, even specifically in this card too, it's like, where are you giving your power away? Because even expecting and being, like gung-ho on a thing showing up for you in a specific way, like just kind of having that level of control on something is giving your power away. There could be a message that comes in. This could even just be guidance from your higher self, kind of tapping you lovingly on the back of the head and being like, wake up. I don't know. That's interesting. And then all of the things that we talked about with the Page of Swords, I'm not even sure if I need to talk about it specifically, because I feel like I've like bounced back and forth to it a few times. I don't even think that there's anything else that to add. I mean, swords are our mind, it's air. So, it's Aquarius energy. I don't know if it's specifically tied to Aquarius, but, just in the sense that it's air. And that does have to do with our mind. How are we thinking about things, and why are we thinking about those things in that capacity? What is our mindset around a thing? Where is our curiosity level? What are the things that are drawing our curiosity? Swords also talk about intellect, knowledge, communication. How are we communicating the things that we learned? How are we communicating our beliefs, our perceptions? Swords are also truth and honesty, but divine, objective truth. They're holding the Ace of Swords there. And even this being in the reverse, there could be a truth about a thing that you're not wanting to be open to or to believe even. Or maybe not even that. It's just something that maybe you haven't accepted as truth yet. It hasn't maybe even all the way unfolded for you. I also see swords as being the suit of ego, because that's generally where we hear our ego, is in our minds. And our ego is created by the stories that we attach to feelings, to experiences, to circumstances, whether those stories were ours or not, and whether they're true or not. But we've carried them around. We've made them a part of our personality. We've made them a part of our temperament. They become the reason why we do things and why we don't do things. And with this being a page, pages are, it's like they just found the Ace of Swords. They just got it. And now they're like, hell yeah. What am I going to do with this now? Like the possibilities are endless. However, though, right, the sword is already there. They already have, and that's why at the beginning I was saying we don't need any new ideas. We need to explore and fully even give the full energy to a thought, to an idea, to a belief that it deserves before we move on to another thing. And then it's paired with the Magician card. It's interesting because Judgment is the card that comes before the World card, so it's at the end of the Fool's journey. The Magician is the card that comes after the Fool card, which I was feeling Fool vibes from the the waxing crescent moon. Just, I said like taking a leap. That's very, full energy. But it is interesting because it's like we're not quite at the end. Also, we've already been past the beginning. And then, this Chariot is just literally it's there. It's ready to get this thing going, to move this thing forward. All it needs is your energy, your mindset, your thought process, even just your unique way of perceiving a thing. So the Magician, they have all of the elements here: the sword, the cup, the pentacle, the wand. As above, so below. As within, so without. The way that you feel inside is how you're going to perceive the outside, which again goes to mindset. Anytime I see the Magician card, I always think of Harry Potter, because the Magician says you have exactly what you need right now in order to manifest the thing that you want in your life. And most of us get hung up in, well, I don't have enough money. I don't have enough emotional capacity. Mentally, it's not there. I'm not even sure where to start. I'm not even sure the things to try. And the Magician is like, no, you have the exact amount of energy that you need. You have the exact amount of money right now that you need. You have the exact amount of emotional capacity, even if it feels like it's very little. You can take steps towards a thing. And the Harry Potter reference is the Sword of Gryffindor, because the Sword of Gryffindor shows up to exactly who needs it for the exact purpose that they need it at the exact time that they need it. It fulfills its purpose and then it moves on. It's interesting even that I'm bringing up the Sword of Gryffindor, since the Page of Swords is up there in the reverse. But whatever you need will show up for you at exactly the right time, for exactly the right purpose, for exactly the thing that you need it for. But it's not going to have the possibility. It's not going to have the chance to do that if you're not like moving in a direction. It requires movement. Even like their earrings are crescent moons. I love how that's just kind of like throughout the whole reading so far. There's another crescent moon in the Two of Swords. Creativity. Curiosity. I let my curiosity lead the way. Gently emerging from the darkness, the waxing crescent moon is a growing light that marks the beginning of a new cycle. And then we have the Death card. Something has to end here in order for something new to begin. There's that saying, every new beginning disguises itself as an end. That's the Death card. The Death card speaks to both death, but also rebirth. Both of those things are necessary. Not to even mention, like I'm thinking of butterflies and how, they cocoon themselves and turn to goo and so that they can emerge as butterflies. Right? They have to literally break down one form that they were in order to create a new form. I'm even thinking of like, what do they call those? Prescribed burns, where they burn off dead, plant material. And the purpose of that is so that new plant material can grow, because it helps germinate seeds and, you know, helps the ecosystem. It's part of the cycle. But of course, there's some discomfort in that though, because even in this death card, it seems like there's some bargaining that's going on. We have that there's a person down here that's holding up a flower. There's this other person that looks like they're kind of begging. There's somebody else laying on the ground. Like there's this bargaining thing happening here. And it's almost like, the grieving process also, though, right? The grieving process is to get us from the sense of the loss, the pain, the dread, the sadness. It gets us to the other side. Acceptance, right? The sun is either coming up or down, depending on how we want to see that. And even this Queen of Pentacles, we can see a couple different ways. This is either going to require you to show up more, because Pentacles are earth, right? So it's being grounded. I think of like home, the Queen of Pentacles is nurturing. It's like mother hen kind of energy, even just the way that they're like holding the pentacle there. It's very nurturing. Caregiver, it's self-care also. Pentacles are our money, how we get it, how we save it, how we spend it. It's our time, our physical time. Where are we physically showing up in our lives? It's our health, our body. Anything that we place monetary value on, anything tangible that we can touch, right? So you get the point. Queens are also when we embody the energy of the suit ourselves. Like we have to master the energy of the suit before we can move on to be a king and share it with other people. Now, all of a sudden, I have like the hiccups or something, which also feel like they're like getting stuck in my throat. So maybe it's like, first of all, it is maybe a conversation that you need to have. Maybe it's even something that you need to say out loud, even if that's to yourself in the mirror. It like that whole like speak it into existence thing. I know for me personally, I do have to eventually I have to say something out loud, whatever it is that I'm feeling, because there's the hamster wheel in our head, and it gets to a point where it sounds a certain way, it feels a certain way in my head, but as soon as I say it out loud, first of all, the energy of the thing changes. It's no longer just an idea in my head. Now I've said it out loud. Now it's out of my head. It's not in that container of my mind anymore, right? It's out in the ethers. Even if this is something that you're standing in the mirror and you're talking to yourself about. I have also used the voice memo, or the voice recorder app in my phone to record me just blabbering, just going on and on, podcast style. Nobody would ever hear that again. And I might go back and listen to it one time and then I delete it. But, like hearing it outside of your head, when it comes out of your mouth, you're like, oh, what the hell? That didn't necessarily hit the same way out loud as it did in my head. Right? So it shifts the energy of it, or the opposite. It does sound exactly the way that it sounded in your head. And you're like, that's actually a really good idea. Or it's actually not a good idea, right? So, it's funny that I'm like all these things I'm talking about, like with the Queen of Pentacles. But there is something here where it's like either stop playing small or bargaining with yourself over something, whatever it is. Or it is an energy if you have been in some sort of grieving process. It is a message to allow yourself to move through that. And the way to do that is by compassion. Even, since we are talking physical body, it could be getting a massage. It could be Reiki. It could be, taking walks. Something physically to where it moves the energy around. Or the other way ish, which kind of, it may be the same thing, whatever. What is being birthed through this death process is a self-reliance. This is trusting in yourself. This is knowing that you are a badass in your field, whatever that is. This could be knowing that you're an amazing parent, knowing that you are an amazing friend. It's, knowing that in your field of whatever you do for work, that you have it, right? Like you're a boss. You know what you're doing. You're confident in what you're doing, and even charging what you're worth, asking for a raise. It could be saving money for the future, saving for retirement, recognizing that later in life you want your lifestyle to be comfortable. And then we have the Two of Swords at the bottom of the deck and the Ace of Cups behind it, Three of Pentacles. The Two of Swords talks about indecision. However, this specific Two of Swords in this specific deck has been giving me this feeling of making a decision not from the mind, because their sense of sight has been taken away because they're blindfolded. There's all this water back here too. Even just their body language of being kind of closed out to things. This could be not accepting somebody else's opinion. Just being like, I'm actually not taking other people's opinions right now. Like closed for business on taking any type of input on the decisions, on the ideas that I have, on the beliefs. And not necessarily in an arrogant sense, but just in the sense of, I want to get clear on what I believe through my own authenticity. I want to make a decision based on what I believe to be the best move for me, for my family, for my, if there's other people in your life that you have a responsibility for. There is this level of trust that goes into this. And like I said, the sight has been taken away. So it really does, it's really going to force you to get into your intuition. And possibly the reason why the decision, if you have one, has been so hard is because you've been kind of coming from it from a mental place, or even seeing, you're seeing too many ways of how things can go. And so if we cut off that sight, You have to drop down into your intuition, which is interesting because we have the Ace of Cups behind that. Your cup is overflowing. Cups are, water, and it does have to do with empathy, compassion, self-love. This is making sure that your cup is full. Making sure that you're pouring even from a full cup. On the right side of the card is the future. The left side of the card is the past. So this hand is coming out of the future. There's something coming in with it being an ace. There's something coming in, or even as you make this decision here, it is going to be something that fills your cup. And maybe you make the decision to go for the thing that does fill your cup. The Three of Pentacles is collaborating with other people, working with other people. It's like recognizing too that you can't go at it alone. Maybe you don't want to. Anyway, I'm going to leave it there. Thank you so much for allowing me to read your cards. Truly, I am grateful. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.